Hello fellow 3D enthusiast, my name is Ian, and in a recent project I had to have a crowd in the background, and this is kind of what it looked like. If you scrub through the animation you can see it's kind of moving a little bit. So today I wanted to show you how I got this effect. It's fairly simple. This is a technique I would recommend for crowds in the background rather than the foreground, because if you zoom in on this it doesn't look quite as realistic. But when it's in the background it works just fine. So let's hop into a new Blender scene here. Don't save that. Let's just clear our scene and add in a plane. So for this, I'm going to start by unwrapping it. So I'm going to hit U and unwrap, and then just hit subdivide a few times. Get some nice detail in there to work with. And now I'm going to hop into the modifiers and actually add in even more detail by a subdivision surface modifier. I'm going to hit simple there so that it is evenly spread. And then I'm going to drop in a displace modifier. So with this, we're going to hit new, go over to this little panel over here, and switch this to be clouds. And you can see it gets kind of crazy up in here. But I'm just going to turn up the size a little bit to make it a little bit smoother. And I'm going to turn down the strength a little bit as well. If you right click and hit shade smooth, that starts to look a little bit better here. Now I'm going to go into shading real quick and just give this a basic material. The principled shader will do fine. Let's add in a crowd texture. So this is a texture I got on textures.com. It's not perfect, but it will do for what we need. So I'm just going to plug that into the base color of our principled shader. And you can take a look here. I think this is a little stretchy at the moment, so I'm going to go into edit mode. And I'm just going to switch this editor here to be the UV editor. Select all with A, and then just scale it around to kind of get the aspect ratio looking a little bit better. You can see this has seams in it. And it's not perfect, but it really doesn't need to be perfect since it's just going to be in our background. We just kind of want a general idea of like a large crowd of people. So I'm going to go back to my layout tab here, and if you render it, it's upside down. Not a big deal. Just going to go into UV editing and rotate it by 180. And there we go, it's right side up. Cool. So now, let's add a little bit more detail to this and make it so that it moves. So I'm going to start by adding in one more subdivision surface modifier, set that to simple. If you go to wireframe view, you can kind of see how many polygons you're messing with. Since this is background, it doesn't have to be too crazy, but it would be nice to get a little bit more detail in there. So I'm going to hit displace once more, and new, and a cloud texture will do fine. If we look at this, it starts to get pretty strange up in here, but we can work on that a little bit later. For now, let's add in a couple of empties. Just gonna move that off the center. And you can add in different kinds of empties if you want them to display differently so you can kind of tell them apart. So for this first empty, I'm going to hit I and add a location keyframe. And I'm also going to split this timeline down here and get our graph editor. Wow. So if we make our window a little bit bigger, we can see what's going on down here. If we hit N, that will open up this panel here, and if we go down to modifiers, we can start working with it. So I'm going to select the X location over here and add in a generator modifier. And this will just make this empty move along the X axis infinitely. If you hit play, you can see it start taking off. That is a little bit fast for what we want at the moment, so I'm going to change this value down here to be quite a bit less. I'd say like 0.01 would work, and you can see the slope evens out quite a bit more. And it's quite a bit slower, which is alright. So now if we select our crowd again and go to the modifiers again, for the first displacement modifier that we have here, if we set the texture coordinates to be object and use this little dropper tool to select our empty that we had start moving, you can see things get a little bit crazy, but if we mess with the scale of this, it gets kind of back to what we had it at. And if we hit play, you can see it starts to move a little bit. I think I might try taking that down a bit. It's still a little bit crazy, but that's just because our bottom displacement is way too strong at the moment. If we turn that down to like, I don't know, maybe try a 0.24. Now for this empty, let's just add some movement on a different axis to mix it up a little bit more. So once again, I, location, select, let's go with the y-axis this time, generator modifier, even that out a little bit. I like to go like maybe a 0.015 actually. And that isn't doing anything at the moment, so let's go select our crowd once more. Object, dropper tool, select the empty, and now we have quite a bit more detail going on here. Now that's actually really fast. Maybe I don't want it that fast. Let's go like that. So now we've got two forces that are kind of moving in different directions, so it doesn't look like it's going completely in one direction, which is alright. I think I might actually turn this quite a bit more down, so we get a little bit of movement, but it's not too crazy. So it kind of looks like people are milling about a little bit. If we go into Material Preview, you can have a look at it, what is going on, and from back here, it's really not that bad. From close up, it's really freaky. So yeah, once again, I recommend this would be a background element just if you want to liven up your scene a little bit. So that's pretty much it for the tutorial. If you found this helpful, there's a link in the description that will sign you up for my email list. It says free hydraulic kit bash elements, and once you sign up for that, I will send you free hydraulic kit bash elements. So the kit bash stuff is for Blender, and it will really help you out if you're into hard surface and machinery and stuff. I find that it helps me to add in another level of detail and get results quite a bit faster. So I hope that helps you out. Have a good day. I've been Ian. Cheers.